And so we'll break into it then. For people who, or those people listening and watching, we appreciate you first and foremost. But second, for people who may not know what you're all about, give them a quick rundown.
Yeah, give them a little bit of a summary. So we're building the next generation of leaders and entrepreneurs. Specifically, I run a marketing firm called Socialize Inc. We're like a sales hybrid firm. So we don't just focus specifically on marketing and branding. We want to focus on being able to make your business money. So leads are the new currency. That's the tagline that we leverage and we use. Essentially what I do specifically, I started my career off, I started off in the high schools. I wrote 2 books, one hit the bestseller list, and I spoke to thousands of students within a span of 5 months. That built my brand, that built my platform of who I was. I was literally picking up the phone, cold calling schools to get in. And I would go right through the guidance counselor and they would let me in because I had a book as a leverage point. And all I was saying, I wasn't teaching rocket science. I was teaching how to get focused and be able to go out in the world and follow your passion. And I did that. So it was one of those things that's how I started my career. And then it ran off. I started a sales company. One of them, we were doing door to door. We sunk it into the ground. It did miserable. It was freezing cold out and we're banging door to door. My brother trained me, best sales guy I ever met in my life.
Nice.
Didn't work out. We transitioned into that. I went on and switched my vehicle from the door to the phone and started selling over the phone. That's when things started to really kick into action.
Nice.
And we landed another contract off that and then ran into the marketing piece. I was really good with the personal branding side. That's how I built my business through referrals. Mm-hmm. And that's basically the gist of what we do, our operation. We focus on leads and customer acquisitions. But my tagline of what I do as a brand and who I am and what I'm trying to do, we're building the next generation of leaders and entrepreneurs, my friend.
I like that. What is one thing you wish you knew before starting your company?
So one thing I wish I probably knew before starting a company, there's many different facets to a business, right? So you have your accounting, your marketing, your sales perspective. Before I started a business, it'd probably be, that's actually a really interesting question because there are a lot of things. Like, it was funny because I'm the type of guy that just jumps into things to see what happens. Maybe if I would have known that if I stuck, like I went in many different directions. I tried to do the sales, the marketing, so many different things. I maybe would have stuck with one specific thing first, 1 or 2 things first, instead of go after 15 at once and kept my focus dialed in more. That's probably what I would have told myself, is focus on 2 things to start off that you're really good at. So whether it's a sales and something else, and then kind of branch out as you go, as you start making money, getting momentum, things like that.
Okay. So what advice then would you give for people looking to kind of streamline their own personal brand? Maybe not in the same niche as you, but similar, but offset.
Even if it was in the same niche, doesn't matter. The biggest thing to do is follow your energy, because at the end of the day, the energy is what's going to get you out of bed in the morning. And a lot of students, what you find is their parents. So I was going to be a lawyer by trade, right? And I was reading case law after case law, and I was bleeding my eyes out. It was terrible. It was boring. It didn't fire me up. So I took the advice from everybody. It was very respectable in that, but I followed my passion. I was looking at guys like Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Ty Lopez, some of the top people in industry today, and I studied under those people. And I listened. I was in my 3rd year university course, criminal law, and I'm reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Not good because you're spending money on school, but I was reading that book.
Great book.
Yeah. But so my advice to students and people that when they're graduating, follow your energy, follow what fires you up. Nobody's sitting in their car thinking about you. Even if you start promoting and your parents and other people are judging you, it doesn't matter. If that's what you believe in your heart, if that's your truth, follow that, because that's going to give you the energy to push through. Some of my best friends laughed at me and they said, people think you're missing a boat or you're on drugs or there's something off. And the funny thing is, there's been those people that have came and looked at me in a funny way. I actually do business with some of them now. They came to me for marketing advice. It's funny how that works, right? And you stay humble with it. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, right? Like, you kept your mind focused. You got to where you want to go. And now those people, I think you posted something about it a while ago or recently, actually, where it's something along those lines. Hey, where it's like people who were once making fun of you for something and not believing or supporting you are now coming to you for advice and trying to get answers from you.
Yeah, and you just got to stay respectful and humble, and you just look out for people in the best way. That's the best advice. Is at the end of the day, that the more people you help, the more you're helping yourself, because you're not just living with you. It's outside of you, and that's the true essence of life, I believe. I
like that. Nice. So with that, then, like, discovering your passion, like, I believe for so many people is something we don't find, or a lot of people don't find. I like to believe I'm in that intermediate stage, or beginning intermediate stage, where I've figured out a way I want to go, and now it's just making something out of it. And so when you were studying to become a commercial lawyer, and in your studies and your diversification, you discovered your passion for business and entrepreneurship, right?
100%.
Okay. So now what made it click for you? That was the moment that you went, okay, you know what? Enough is enough with this. I'm going to full tilt in this direction towards leadership, entrepreneurship, and business.
So the biggest thing, so I was studying law, and like law and business go hand in hand in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
but I was looking at the different facets of what it takes to run an operation and things like that. And all my teachers would come up to me and they say, wow, you really have a lot of entrepreneur traits. And the more I studied a lot of these entrepreneurs like Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, people like that, I started to discover that I wasn't cut out to just be a lawyer and be representing people. I wanted to be the person that goes out there and is, you know, kind of an image and a brand. So the moment that it kind of clicked for me was probably in my third year. I got signed with a Hollywood publicist of all people. I lost $8,000 US. Like this is in school. So I'm coming off this big high. I published this book. I'm signed with this publicist. He literally took my money. I was pitching Fox News, Success Magazine, all these big hitters at the time, you know, at 23 years old.
Yeah.
And I got robbed, basically. The guy took my money and that was it. Didn't really help us out. Said, good luck. And I sent him a text back and I said, you're going to see me one day. And I said, you know, it's going to be different. It's going to be a different script than what happened here. You take your kids' money. Kind of thing, unethical. So that was one of the moments. Wow. So then going into my fourth year, I knew I wanted to start a company. I worked at TD Bank. I was their top sales guy, had numbers through the roof. Me and my buddies that worked there, we had numbers through the roof. Yeah. And I finally, my brother approached me and said, I have this company idea that we can build this huge sales team. And that was the moment that clicked for me. I started selling door to door, and I knew from then on that I was never going to go back into an infrastructure like a TD Bank or something like that. I was going to take that and create my own. And then one of my biggest mentors, his name's Kevin Fitzgerald, owns a few businesses. He took me on as a contractor. So then I started my company, LaRocque Enterprises, off of that. Yep. We did an acquisition with my brother. And that was the moment I knew. I was like, I'm going to start selling for a living. And it's not even selling, we're helping for a living. You find an essential service or whatever it is. And that's when the moment I knew I will never go work a job paid by the hour sort of thing. I do contracts and things like that. And I want to create my own because I get to choose who I get to work with. I get to choose who we're helping, things like that. And it's a lot more effective than having to be told what to do. And it's nothing wrong with working a normal job and being told what to do.
Right.
I'm just designed differently. I'm designed to do the deals and kind of help people and bring them in and find solutions and outsource like that.
Absolutely. And that's pretty sweet. So then with that being said, it sounds like you have a pretty full schedule. So take us through a typical day in the Connor LaRocque enterprise life.
Yeah, no, 100%. So a typical day besides COVID. So COVID, I've been getting out of bed a lot later than usual, but usually my schedule works. I get up at 6 a.m. I literally roll out of bed, go right to the gym. So I go right to Good Life. By 8 o'clock, I'm home. I'm showered. I'm in the office by 9 o'clock. Our day runs. So I have always the same thing every day. That's that same ritual on a night, like on a Monday to Friday. Even Saturday, I get up a little later. Yeah. But then as we transition through that, then it's literally I'm picking up the phone. I'm dealing with all my emails, all my clients, getting the content out for these clients because we have several. And then I'm always looking for opportunities because as a business, the thing is that you could lose. I was doing really well in 2018, but then bang, lost 2 clients just like that. One of them got hit. The company wasn't working. Yeah. And so you lose that, and all of a sudden you have payroll to make, you have people to support, and then you take a hit. I get a $5,000 cut. So then you have to let someone go. It's sad, right?
Ooh.
So I'm always looking for deals. We're always looking for better ways to optimize our processes for the marketing side of it. And I'm always looking for ways to help and then create content so people are seeing you. You become omnipresent. You're out there. Those are the things. So that's my typical day. It'll fluctuate from putting content out, talking with my clients, as well as looking for opportunities at all times. And then also the personal brand. You got to push stuff out for yourself as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I find people have to know who you are as well as also what you're pushing, because you build that personal brand, I believe, is where that connection comes in with whether it be your clients, the people you work with, the people you work for, stuff like that.
Dude, you're 100% right. Yeah, your personal brand is the resume of the future. My whole entire business, I built a 6-figure business in less than 2 years off of my personal brand because people were like, wow, you're good at marketing. You seem like this really good sales guy. And even now I have trouble because I built a solid brand. So people are like, oh, is he just a sales guy? And we run a big operation at Social Rise. We have an office. Like, we're going. We just signed on Paladino for crying out loud. Like, congrats. You know what I mean? Like a big client like that. So people were starting to get associated with the more of the marketing side because we crush it for our clients. Mm-hmm. But again, it just comes off the brand. Like they're like, oh, it's just that motivational guy. I'm like, no, we're running. We're building a team. I just hired 3 sales guys. We're going to bring in 5. It'll go to 10, and then we roll it out like that. You know,
that's wild. Nice, congrats though. It sounds sick.
Thanks.
It sounds really cool.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet. So, we'll get into this now because I'm really curious.
Sure.
What's the biggest mistake you've made so far as like a young adult in that from like 17, 18, like leaving high school to kind of where you are now? Like, what's that biggest mistake? And then kind of take me through how you learn from it.
The biggest mistake it's an interesting question because I think one of the biggest things for me, like because I didn't get into university my first try, I just didn't care. I wish I realized at a younger age, so at that 18, 19, that I actually could make a difference, that regardless of what people said, you could position your brand.
Mm-hmm.
That right now, so if you are a 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old, start talking about the things you love. You don't have to go and talk rocket science, but talk about your passion, speak with enthusiasm, go out there and just communicate with people. You can make a difference at that age. Everybody says you have to have this doctorate and this degree, and that's complete nonsense. At the end of the day, if you're going out there trying to help people, I wish I would have went out there more at those ages or at that age and started pushing things even younger, because I would have been that much farther ahead. Invest in yourself. That's the biggest thing. So all the personal development books, read as much as you can. You can go out and party and have a little bit of fun here and there, but snap into it. You can actually, you'll look yourself in the mirror. So at 18 right now, if you're sitting at 18 years old, you'll look at yourself at 26 years old. If you start investing in yourself, and be like, wow, like I'm glad I did that at an early age. So my only regret would be that I wish I started a little bit younger. But again, I don't regret it because I learned everything from there. That I had to take those bullets to build that story, to realize that I should have maybe tried a little bit harder.
Yeah.
The sad reality is that high school, in a lot of ways, is outdated. The way it's designed and constructed, that I've had people approach me that were A students and I was a C student, right? They're coming looking for jobs, looking for help, right? So there's a divide there, that your marks, like the marks you get in school, will not necessarily convert into how you're going to do in the real world. The biggest thing that these kids need to focus on, and the biggest thing you need to focus on, is your network. Because the more people you're connected with, and and they know what you do and they like you, they're going to introduce you to more people. The network is the most crucial aspect, and it's free. Go on 100%. LinkedIn now. Yeah, 100%. That's what you need to do. LinkedIn, hammer LinkedIn, build a profile, because that's your resume. No one cares. People send me in resumes and this. I want to get on the phone with you and I want to hear what you have to say. I want to feel your heart. I want to know if you're driven, if you're passionate, what's going on. Those are the things that are important. So network is huge.
I like that.
Pushed ahead of it, and do interviews like you're doing now. You'll cut the line for everything. Yeah.
No, I like that, and you're definitely right when it comes to network, and it is free. Like I was. I don't know if I should say this during COVID-19, but I was like doing a drive-by meetup with my buddy, like with Kyan. And he's like, yo, Connor, I'll ask him, because he's like, man, you should get this person. You should get this person. Like every time I talk to him, and that's his energy and that's his personal brand, right? And he's got that network, and he's like, man, you should talk to this guy. And I was like, oh, yeah, I was at the event where I watched you. We both have something in common when I was actually
you were at the event when you watched me get beat up?
Yeah. Dude,
that was funny.
We have that in common, though. Like, we've both gotten our asses kicked by Mitch Gagnon.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I knew going into it, but it was for charity. We need to do it.
I
was having a good time. Yeah.
No, it was cool how everything went smooth. Everyone turned out. Like, it went well.
Yeah.
Looked like a pretty cool event. So
that was hard. It was that was one of the hardest things we did. It was basically, we had a good team involved, but me and my girlfriend Kaya, we put it together. But literally 3 days before, I lost my best friend. And so you try to go in and face a UFC fighter after, losing your best friend in a tragic death. And he was this guy. Else. Yeah, it was tough, but he was there in spirit, and he was on my shoulder, and it helped us kind of make that event be successful.
Yeah. Well, it turned out well, man. Like, you couldn't, like, kudos to you for, like, power to you for going through and still doing that.
Oh, that's a blast.
Like, your head's somewhere else. And then, like, the energy was there. Like, everyone felt it. Like, it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be part of it. Yeah, man.
Thank you.
So then with that, you said LinkedIn, hammer LinkedIn, interviews. What is your piece of advice for promoting, like, a business? Like, the best way that a business nowadays can go ahead and promote themselves?
So the biggest thing you hear the thing is, I don't want to give you the generic answer. Well, tell your story. Everybody's got to tell your business story. Well, no, go out there and be authentic. So what you're thinking. So again, we're all in the same boat. Everybody got hit by COVID. Look at retail, look at the airlines, things like that. So if you're going to promote your business, at the end of the day, what is that publicist that took $8,000 from me, right? US at the 22 or something, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
He did teach me something though. The wow factor. What is your wow factor? So there's tons of marketing firms out there. They call themselves agencies, but I address mine as a marketing firm or a hybrid. Mm-hmm. So you have to look at your wow factor. So nobody in the city can actually guarantee a business leads. We do. We guarantee you leads. I will literally look you dead in the eyes and say that at the end of the day, if I do not get you business, I will give your money back cash. So then you can write that off as a tax write-off at the end of the day.
Wow.
Because that's how certain our team is that we will effectively kill it for your business. So you need to find a wow factor. What is going to sell you? What is going to be different? The same goes for a personal brand. What makes you different? Because everybody's out there, tell your story, put out content, Gary V, this is it. So that's great. I love Gary, nothing but respect. I've met the guy a few times, good guy.
100%.
Okay, these guys are sharp. They're the top titans of industry. But at the end of the day, you got to be yourself. So I'm going to go out there, I put my do-rag on as a laugh, like I'm growing a beard, we're having a good time. Be yourself. But at the end of the day, know that business is like, and it sounds, people probably think, oh, I'm intense on this, but business is war. You're going 100%. To war every day. You know, you can go out there and build connections, allies, and people, but people, if you're pitching against another company, damn right they're going to come try to jab you or take you out. You're pitching, you're going out. So realize that your business is your lifeline and you're trying to grow it. So don't, keep your circle tight. You always be there to help people. Always try to go the extra mile. So, for example, in our business, like I look at the whole entire firm, there's lots of good marketers in the city. Killers. They are good at what they do. And there's nothing wrong with that because I love to compete and I'm humble in the way I approach it. But we're going out there right now. We're picking up the phone and calling all the small businesses we can. We'll audit their accounts right now. So we'll go out. I just got a lead in this morning. Literally, we go out, audit their account. Look, okay, so you can fix this on your social media. You can fix this. We're going the extra mile so that when that time comes, they're like, yeah, that firm was there. So when I'm pitching against other firms and other like that, we're throwing in audits. I'm adding this advice. Here's this. Give me a call at this time. Check out this. It's a free resource. You're giving first. You're giving before you get, and that's effective. Yeah.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Was that jab, jab, cross?
Works like a charm. Jab, jab, right cross, man. Yeah, Gary V. South, 100%.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
The more you give in life, the more will come back. And people, it's not in a selfish reason. Just put it out there. People if you want to actually unlock a resource in your mind, like this is what I used to teach in schools. If you want to get to unlock that resource, that hidden source of energy that people think they got to be backed up against the wall or in a do or die situation. No, you got to live for something more than yourself. And that's where the passion comes. That's where you're going to find a niche. That's where the right people will come into trajectory and alignment in your life. You got to go out there and do something more than yourself. So right now, if you're sitting in the slums or in the dumps and you feel down, try to help somebody. Try to put yourself in that perspective and you'll realize that your life isn't that bad, that there is a way out, that you can start building it now. Instant gratification gets you nothing but short-term emotion. Fight that emotion for a long-term plan to then get into a better reality in your life and you'll feel good and you'll feel fulfillment.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you said that's kind of the trajectory you take when it comes to like when you gave speeches in schools and stuff.
100%. So I was going out there and I literally was stepping into my moment. I felt like I belonged there, and I wasn't just going and telling my story. It was more so going out with these students that I can relate to you. I was a C student. I sucked at school, but I was respectable. I was always respecting my teacher. I was a little bit of a crap disturber, whatever you want to call it, when I was in high school.
Right, you're young though. You don't know much better.
Yeah. But yeah, you go out there and that's the way to do it. And then you start all of a sudden discovering yourself because you're stepping into that fear. You're going out and you're trying to communicate. I had students chirp me too. Lots of times we'd be in class, we get into it in a good way. They'd be, well, what do you know? Like, who's this guy? You think you're Ty Lopez and this? And then Ty Lopez is a friend of mine now. You know what I mean? Like they laugh. Like, you think you're Ty? I was at Ty Lopez's house 2 years ago. Yeah. We were doing a deal with Ty Lopez, like some kid from Sudbury, right? Like, and I don't say that to gloat, but it's funny. Like, they're
it's true.
Yeah, I've met Ty several times. Like, it's good, I have his number. Here's for a laugh for your audience too. For anyone that sees that, look at this. And this is like not even just talking crap. Look, I can call Ty Lopez if I want to right now. Okay, look, here's his number right now. Actually, I got to watch the number so it doesn't come up. But wait, I see it.
Oh damn! There we go.
I got Ty's number on my phone. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's just that's the way, right?
Nice. Yeah. How'd you kind of take it from being somebody starting out in Sudbury to now thinking more globally? Because that is definitely something people should be thinking of for anything, whether it be form of business, podcasts, books, everything. It's not just global. Like, you have to think global, like worldwide.
100%. I forget what the quote I always came up with is think or something local, think global. Like, I forget exactly what it was, but the biggest thing is that I told myself at a young enough age that if I can't blow it up in the city of Sudbury, that I'm not worthy for going out in the world and doing these big things. But
Interesting.
when you start thinking and setting goals that are outside of yourself and outside of your city, that you want to meet some of these big moguls and you want to work with companies.
Mm-hmm.
I never would have thought when I was 23 years old, I was working off of Broad Street in New York City. I was working one of the biggest events, one of the biggest personal development events in the country, in all of Canada and North America. Richard Branson, Gary Vaynerchuk, Jimmy Wales from Wikipedia. These were the speakers, and I was the lead sales guy flown in at 23 years old. If I never thought big, like if I never put myself out there and just said, well, I'm just some rookie guy, or I didn't sell myself, like I was just like, oh, I'm just some local, you never would have got to those platforms. But you have to stay humble in it too when you're reaching out into it, and realize that people in Sudbury, we're underrated in a lot of ways. But like, so I laugh. I go to Toronto and you see, well, you should be moving to Toronto. I'm like, screw it. I'm like, my rent's way cheaper. I live on the lake right now. I don't have, you know what I mean? I live on the lake. I can save money. I have an office. I said, you have a corner in Toronto. No disrespect to anyone in Toronto, by the way, but I'm just saying, like, feel like you got to be in Toronto. I'm like, no, I can just fly in. Like I love my lifestyle here. It's nice. We can just fly in and out. But you got to stay humble towards that. But realize that the bigger you think and you put yourself, and you actually write it down, take it from your mind, take that little thought, write it down, make it concrete. It'll actually happen when you start working towards it and you start aiming out there. And the bigger perspective, when you start thinking bigger and you start looking into different economies, different cultures, different worlds, it makes you better. You become self-actualized, and it puts you out there a little bit more.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But tell us now, what was the process when it came to writing your first book? What did it go from? Take us through from where the idea became something that you wanted to convey to the world.
Sure. I've always been a writer in some way. Like, I'm not saying I'm a good editor of anything, but I've always been a writer. So when I was young, I was in like grade 4. I started writing a show called The Legend of Nova Fist. It was like Mortal Kombat mixed with Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, nice.
And then when I was in high school, I started writing a TV show called 7 Isn't an Odd Number, about 6 guys, like kind of like my friends were just going out, kind of like the Nelk Boys, something funny like that, right? And so the process that I went on a trip. And I came home and I met these rappers, and they were opening up for big names like Tech9, Mad Child, things like that. Nice. And they kind of inspired me. And I remember telling my buddies, and they laughed. We were in Cuba, and we're laying on the chair. I'm like, guys, I'm gonna go home and write a book. They're like, oh, sure you will, Connor. I'm sure you will. And so I came home, and the easiest way. So for anyone out there that has because we all have a story, we all have something to say. Start writing your story first. That'll get the juices flowing, and then you can get more into the technical, the practical aspect of it. So start telling your story on paper. Start from day one, or however you want to start. And that's how I started it. And my book was all over the place. The first one, I hate to say it, but it was my first book. Again, there was a lot of editing errors and things. I almost got into it with my editor at the time, where we almost got into somewhat of a lawsuit over that because they didn't fix what needed to be done. But it's out there. The thoughts are there. I got chirped about it, but it had a lot of good reviews from a lot of people, which is nice. And then the second was the same thing. I started telling more of the story, but I went more into the technical because I had a lot more experience. And then the third, so I have a third one going to come out eventually. Going to take my time. Too busy right now, but the third one will be more of a technical and practical thing, and we break into it, couple laps, things like that.
Nice.
So yeah, tell your story first. Get the juices flowing that way to kill the writer's block, and then go out there from there. And find the publishing companies are all over the place. I have a buddy of mine named Tyler Wagner. Authors Unite is his company. He destroys like millionaire type of numbers that he does with his company. He takes people and gets them published. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet though. So you have the 2 out right now. A Mindset is Everything, and then Life is Motivation, if I'm correct.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Lots of fun.
Yeah, I bet. That geez, what was do you do any book tours for them post publishing?
I did. So for the first one, it was I sold. Honestly, this was crazy. I forget the exact number. I sold a couple hundred like in a few days. Like nice. I went out the first day. I did 100. Like right off the first day, just ding 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 ding, like going all over the place. Not so much a book tour on that one, more of a promo. Did some news stuff like that. And the same thing for the second one was more of a tour. I was in chapters, which is easy to do if you're an author. You go sign a deal with them. And then I did some stuff like that. I had the publicist for the second one, and that was the biggest waste of $8,000 down the tubes. Bad learning experience. Like he promised me the world, and good for the guy. He's in Hollywood, whatever it was. But yeah, he screwed me there pretty good on that. Young kid took advantage, and my old man warned me about it too. He said, this is just a waste of time. Like Had another guy try to do one for 15 grand
Yeah.
with the company I was published with, was trying to do. They're like, oh yeah, we can get you on all these things. And a lot of time PR, 90% of it's junk. I hate to say it. And for anyone else listening, I have some PR buddies that do it. Some of them are good, but I've been burned 3 or 4 times now doing PR with just fake articles and all this stuff. And it's just garbage. It's very hard to find someone that's good at it. And I'm not, no disrespect to people doing it, but they're a lot of, I've been burned several times now. Even from the top, a guy working in Hollywood, worked with Madonna, the Rolling Stones, David Bowie. That guy burned me. Crazy.
That's absurd. Jeez.
Yeah.
How did that feel when you got burned at such a young age and you're just starting out and everything? You're starting to get your wits about you, and then buddy goes and steals $8,000 US from you?
I would say steal, like it goes and takes,
right.
like we still did pitch, but no guidance. Like for the amount of money I paid, it was a joke. Like it was a complete joke, and it was frustrating, very frustrating, because I'm a young kid, like 22, 23 years old, and that's a decent chunk of change coming out of university trying to figure it out. And then he's selling you a dream. That's what they say. So basically selling you a lie. Well, we'll get you on all these news stations. And really the PR game nowadays, you just pay for it. If I really want to get on Fox News or something, I better have a brand. I can go pay for it to get on. Like I could have took that money and used it and maybe invested on more. I wish I would have invested more in my own marketing on Facebook and things like that, rather than just let buddy give me 10 pitches, if that, for some big networks, and doesn't even help. Oh, well, we'll do a better hook, Connor, like that. And that's just advice for you youngsters out there. Be careful. Be very careful, because people will deceive you. They'll take that mask off and they'll smile in your face and burn you. Be careful. But again, that doesn't mean all people aren't good. Right. It just means do your due diligence and understand that, there's people out there that are dark. A really good book to read is The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. He's my favorite author. He has several books, like the 50th Law. That was the game changer for me. That was like kind of the moment. It's called the 50th Law. He does the 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, The Art of War, things like that. He's a very articulate author, dark, but he's got some great books that come out to kind of give you a better of humans, of our basic psychology, things like that.
Nice. That's pretty well. I'll definitely put like that book, link description, yours as well, in the description of the video, description of the podcast. That. So this way, people can read your story, figure it out, learn from it as well. And so one thing I discovered that was interesting about you have an Eastlink show?
Yeah.
So when I hear, for me personally, when I hear about that, and when I see like your TEDx talk, and I watch those, and I go through some episodes you've done of your show, my first thought when it comes to it, and you answered it earlier with like the speeches in schools, is how does that happen? Like, does one day people pick up the phone and go, hey, Connor, we have an idea we want to pitch to you?
There's several different ways. So it's kind of funny. There's 2 ways you can do it. Some people say in life, let it happen. And I've been told that my whole life, and I've always been of the mentality to make it happen. So with the TEDx, like as an example, it was a coincidence. So I had applied to TEDx 13, 14, 15 times, rejection letters up the yin yang. And then coincidentally, a good friend of mine, a coach named Terry Lepovsky, really good guy in Ottawa. I had interviewed him before he interviewed me on his show. Just a really good support. This guy is sharp as a tack.
Nice.
Someone dropped out of the TEDx last year. They dropped out. They weren't able to make it. And rather than bring someone back, he's like, I got this really young guy. And he's like, bring him out. And just from knowing him and trying to add value and connecting him with several people, just doing my process like that, he contacted me. So that was the TEDx. But I had applied like 12 times and I got rejected. The Eastlink television show, another thing I was giving, I was doing this event called Dancing with the Stars for Easter Seals.
Yeah.
One of the best events. It was better than a TEDx. It was, learning how to dance and things. But again, doing stuff for your community. We raised tons of money for charity. And I had been doing the show like online. It was my online television show for so long. And the producer, like one of the guys that worked with Eastlink, said, Connor, I've seen his show. I like his interviews. And his name's Luigi. And he was one of the dancers, and super good guy. Like he hooked me up, and
nice,
just like that, And it was funny, because before it happened, my buddy Tristan Ritchie, he was my business partner with Socialize. We started before he left and did his thing, but he was going to go on Eastlink too. They had approached him, and then so Luigi approached me, and I met with the producer, and it just started like that. It's one of those things, you put yourself out there. I actually got my first acting gig. I got my actor card, ACTRA, I'm in the union. Just through my show. So that, like, for you, it's going to spread, man. Keep spreading your content and just know people. Just start getting out there and do a
Yeah.
positive thing and a positive message, and watch your brand. Don't do anything stupid.
Don't do any. Yeah, dude, I've been having to audit a lot of my videos lately. Like there's one or two. I kind of figured out the hack to it is kind of just have my parents be like, "Hey, mom or dad, can one of you guys just watch this episode this week and let me know if I should bleep anything or cut out?" Typically, it's pretty good. I think it mostly depends on the guest.
Yeah.
Then
for
if
sure.
I find, and this could be with anyone in meetings and stuff, but if you kind of vibe off the energy of the person you're with, right? And if somebody's swearing often, you can kind of feel comfortable to start doing that. And it's kind of one of those things I find is now, it's less of a challenge now than it was like a year ago, but slowly being like, okay, Glenn, they're doing this, just give them a heads up, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure. My advice on that too, just for your own sake as well, because I mean, and again, I say this on air, but I don't swear on my show like at all. I try to keep it clean, or in my content most of the time. I try not to say the F word and stuff. And again, it's personal preference. You don't have to, but if you want to get those endorsements and things like, yeah, Gary Vee's the GOAT. He does his thing. He's swearing. Tony Robbins is swearing, like, and that's like when you get to that level.
Yeah,
but for now, keep it clean for now and keep it professional. And that's the image you want to project, and be authentic to yourself. If you have some funny things to say, no worries with that stuff, but be authentic to yourself, and it helps. It makes things, it goes a lot farther, and then you're genuine, and you don't have to swear if people are swearing to you, and you let them do your thing. You have a good laugh, but keep it clean and keep it above the belt. Hey, you're a martial artist.
Yes, sir.
That'll help you go farther, and it'll help so if you're working with students specifically and you want to get into high schools, for example, if you're swearing a lot and that, they're not going to let you in, right? Like, and on that point where I say keep it clean, I almost didn't land my TEDx, like the biggest moment of my life, because someone took a couple jabs. They contacted them trying to knock me down, and it was bad, man. Like I had literally someone reach out, like a bunch of people, and try to jab it, and I had to get on a call with the entire board with TEDx, the people that set up the event. And we had to talk to them and say, hey, man, like, they're like, well, what if people pick it outside for having you? I'm like, I'm just trying to motivate some kids, you know, but, you know, and it was bad, you know, but it happens, and it happened. And I thank Terry Lipovsky for that. Like, that gentleman there stood behind me, and he believed in me, and for him, I'm forever grateful. Just an absolute great coach too. This guy works world class. He's worked with Google. He works with TEDx, Apple.
Wow.
Guy's a stud.
Jeez, yeah, it sounds like it, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, and it worked out because you killed it. So
appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Comes from the heart. I was going to be a little bit more aggressive on the stage there with my more motivational, but for TEDx, you gotta keep it academic, very lay it back, and it was good.
Yeah, it did look not like your usual. You kind of had to dial it in a bit.
Dial it in, not in your face. You know, like in your face, me freaking. No, just kidding.
It depends on the audience, though, right? Like, I'm sure you've had that, like, moments where you can just go all out and your message get received well. Whereas I felt with TEDx is like you hit it perfectly.
Appreciate
from my
that.
perspective, you know.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, or go ahead.
So I was just gonna switch.
Oh, no problem. I was just gonna say you gotta dial it in. Like I've got flowing out where I have bombed. Like, and you're getting paid for it, right? You're doing a keynote and you're open. I've got bombed, and then that hurts. You know, you'll know when you feel the audience or not. You can feel it. You'll know when you screw it up too. Just so you know, I just wanted to let your audience know that.
Yeah, it's a good piece of advice for sure. Jeez.
Yeah.
So with switching gears now to charity events, what does it take? Like, what's the game plan look like from the idea of creating like a fundraiser or a charitable nonprofit event? And then what does it look like through the whole journey? Yeah. Whole journey transition to handing over the big check, and then you see the smiling faces.
It's a blast, honestly. I've never done, like, I've done several events. So Joanne Bowers, Easter Seals, she's the executive director that does a bunch of events, does some of the best events I've ever seen. So nice. I took a lot from her just watching, and I've been to several events. I've been to crappy events. So I knew the process these people. I've worked a lot of them too. I've emceed. I've also, I've spoken at a lot of events. So I got to see the process. I see the pros and the cons and how to set something up. And one day I was sitting there and I just thought of something, and I'm like, yeah, I always want to do something. And if they're going to do an event, it's great to go out there and do the promotion and all this stuff. But I'm like, it's better off when you're actually doing it for something more than yourself. Again, I follow that principle and philosophy pretty well. And we work with a charity. I'm on the board of the Human League, and they're trying to get back in there into the light and all this stuff. So the whole process is you got to come up with a good idea because people need to be entertained. It's not like I can go and do a speech and this is how it is, but people need to be entertained. So I'm looking at all these events that have bombed, and I'm looking at Easter Seals and some of the great events they created. And one day I just thought about it. I'm like, I don't want to. It's a scary thing going and fighting in the ring if you're kickboxing or doing MMA. But I'm like, wrestling. I'm like, I'm not too scared of wrestling. Like,
no, plus you're a Muay Thai guy though, eh?
I'm a Muay Thai guy, yeah. Like, but it's still, I hated fighting. I loved it. It was after it's done, but I got a couple concussions. I got knocked out one time, not in training, you know.
Oh, that's even worse.
That's even worse, you know. And it's one of those things. So I'm like, wrestling's okay. So we thought of it, and I was like, let's bring in a bunch of these influencers and people in the city so we get tons of hype and stuff like that. And we brought in some great people. Like we had a great team. Even our MC Richie that night did a phenomenal job. Cam, my film guy, did a phenomenal job from in capture. Kaya, like literally put all the graphics and the promotion and called the people. We had all that together because we didn't have that. It would have looked like crap, right? So everybody did their part, and I did the promo stuff. Like I was doing a lot of promo. But the biggest thing is like you got to have a good cause and a good people need entertainment. That's what's going to get them in. Some people might not have liked that it was wrestling. I didn't care. We're doing it for charity. You're there. Have a couple drinks. Have some fun. This is we're giving back. We're doing something new, something different. So when we do another one, I'm going to do a poker tournament sometime too because it's a big underground poker thing in the city. But we're going to do another night of mismatches in a similar way. Like once things open up again, I plan on doing another one, but I'll twist it this time. Be a little bit more impactful. We're going to go for like 25 grand to give. I made a lot of errors in the first one with money, like just in what you have to spend on for the event and the venue and the food and things. So I learned a lot of these things now. So next time it's optimized to be, really well done even more. Right. Yeah. But just plan. Yeah. Pick a charity, pick a theme. How are you going to entertain me? What's going to keep people there for 3 hours, have them having a blast? And that's it. Yeah, and build it. Get a good team. Get a lot of good people. And the volunteers too. I had Derek Young and Stephanie Angelica, or Stephanie as well. She did a really good job. Unbelievable.
Nice. Yeah, no, that was pretty cool because how I was kind of tied to it was weird. It was kind of like you said, like it was a coincidence, but it was like last minute. So my little brother is good buddies with Cam, like with InCapture. And so I tagged along with them to go. And then Cam said, since he's going around filming and everything, they need somebody to put up the video and like slideshow and stuff. So they're like, hey, can you operate the slideshow, Glenn? I was like, yeah. So I'm sitting next to the lady and I got Richie's like big setup and everything. He's like, all right, this is what you do. You do this and I'll give you a look over at your way. You put up the slideshow. As soon as the slideshow's done and the person's music hit, take it off. And I was like, all right, let's go time. Let's do it.
Huge. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no, it was honestly, a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's good. I hope, and that's the thing. I'm glad I didn't know that. So I was so busy that night, so many different things, but I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I don't blame you. You went from like doing the whole event, taking care of pretty much everything, like appearances, talking to different people, making speeches in the ring, to like backstage, to changing, to going out, fighting Mitch, and then heading back out, back in the suit, more speeches. And it's like, geez, man.
Yeah. The dumbest thing I did was set up the ring. That was the worst. I should have had volunteers, because that killed, just for everybody's sake out there. I'm not saying I would have did better against Mitch. So this is a professional athlete, one of the top in this game.
Yeah.
And but I set up the ring, and you're carrying these 500-pound boards, and then all the other stuff that went with it. That was stupid. It was funny though. I wish there's one thing, and I tell it, even Mitch sees this. It's funny. I wish I would have dumped Mitch once. I at least went for it. If I would have been, I just went for it, and he just would have took me out. But at least he fell once. That was good. He had the one fall that whipped him there. That's good. I'll keep that clip. That's a highlight reel. He loved that. I sent that. So one of my friends is Tim Grover, Michael Jordan's trainer. Okay. So I sent that. He's like, if you send me a clip, he's like, let's see what you got. And I told him I got my rear end kick, but I sent that to him right after. He said that's a good job. He liked it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. No, I had one moment rolling with Mitch. So for those of you who aren't martial arts experts, that's pretty much for grappling, right? We're simulating it and slap hands, bump fists, whatever. We're in, Mitch had me in a guillotine, and he was using it to set up for a sweep, right? So I was in, and then he cranked my neck, and it felt really weird. And I was it was oh, the fuck, sudden
that's good. You're good.
Response. And I was like, oh man, no, none of that. Without releasing the pressure of the choke, he goes, BS, Glenn. Don't tap, fight out of that. And I was like, dude, what do you say? He's like, I was using that to set up for something else. Don't tap out to that. I was like, man, my neck's like crunched. He's like,
Right.
nope, fight it. Do this, fix it. But looking back on it, I've never been more thankful for him doing that. But super painful.
Totally. Yeah, no, I was sore for a good week after that. My neck was finished. Like, I didn't expect that. Like, because again, being a kickboxer and getting low, I thought I was going to do better, like, and be able to just stiff arm him a bunch of times. But right off the beginning, he just kept cranking my neck. And I wasn't used to that, right? Like, I'm a tall guy and I'm like bigger. And yeah, I felt like I got hit by a truck the next day, that far. Like, it was like, I thought something was wrong, to be honest. I was still stupid enough to go to the gym the next day.
Nice. No days off, bro.
Yeah, fat lip too. I got head-butted there. My lip busted wide open. It was funny.
Oh, no.
He could have knocked someone out with that. Like, if that was anyone else on it, I hate to say it, like, it was a hard shot, like, even in the ring, like, when it went through, and I was like, holy crap. Like, ooh, I felt like I just got, I've been in enough tillies there that I knew. I was like, that, not good. Straight in the jaw. My jaw was stiff too. I was thinking the next day, I'm like, ooh,
no.
Yeah.
I can't remember right now, but did you wear a mouth guard for that?
Stupid. No, I didn't.
I was like, man, that was the first thing.
Yeah, I couldn't find my mouth guard. I just said, and even the boxing trainer that was there that rang the ring, Stu from Valley's Boxing, he's like, what the hell are you thinking? I'm like, I wasn't, just went in there. And the best, this is a good one for your audience too, right? When I stepped in the ring, right? I wasn't scared. Like, honestly, I was pumped. Like, I was like, this is great. Like, it's because it's for charity. But literally, right before it started, I'm looking at my toe cramped. Like, both on the one side, they both cramped. They both cramped. And I'm like, holy crap. And then they just ding, ding, ding. And then I was straight away. There's nothing you can do. I didn't eat properly and the toe cramped. And then next thing you know, he's just cranking my neck.
Oh, man. That's incredible, though. Worth it. Don't get me wrong.
Totally.
Probably.
Blast.
Yeah,
it was a blast.
Nice. So with that, we can conclude on this. What's your number one tip for young adults? It's your number one go-to piece of advice.
Number one go-to, build your network. So get on LinkedIn, build your network. The more people you know, the more money you're going to make. That's a Ty Lopez kind of line, but it's not even about the money, but the more impact you'll have, the more opportunity you'll set up for yourself. So the more people you know, the more hands you shake. Establish your brand as a professional. Remember, you're going to be a lot of the people you're going to deal with in terms of money is older people. So it's great to go out there and promote yourself and get a younger audience and build it. But a lot of the time, the people you're going to be selling to and promoting to are going to be older when you go in and close. So you want to be clean cut and professional. People say, like, Gary Vee, wear the toque and all. I disagree with that. Honestly, if a guy like that, for instance, was going to go try to sell to my father, who's an executive, they don't put up with that. That's not their, and again, not knocking anybody that does that, but that's, be clean cut. You want to be professional because it's going to open up your audience. If you're walking in, you want to look sharp. So build your network. Get out there and build a network, and that's going to open up a lot more opportunity. Always be looking for ways to help people. Always be, whether it's the most basic thing. It's not. This isn't a me game. It's about me. It's about we, and that's what's going to happen. And you want to build an army on that. Right. The connections, that, and also don't be. At the end of the day, the biggest thing, you look at the barriers in your life, the things that are going to stop you. Realize that you're going to die one day, and you will harness regrets if you don't go do it. So for the younger audience, if you're like, well, I don't really want to ask this girl out, or I don't want to ask this guy out, really, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? So a buddy of mine at the bar, this was years ago, Connor, look at that girl. She's so attractive. Like, what do I do? I'm like, go say hello. Go say hello. Like,
introduce yourself.
He's like, what about? I'm like, just say hello. Like, start the conversation. So she doesn't like you. Who cares? Like, one of my buddies there, so my buddy Stephen Poulin that passed away, my best friend that died. I've never seen anybody more fearless in my life, and just reality that he just walked into a room. He didn't care what people thought. He would just shake your hand, slap your shoulder. What's going? And that's it. And be yourself. Be a good person. Be professional. But be a good person and always be looking out for people and trying to help and just try to keep a positive mental attitude with that. And it's going to take you places, because the more people you know, the more opportunities you're going to create, and the better off you're going to be when you're going out there giving rather than going, it's all about me. And I had that approach a little bit in the beginning as I built the brand, like chirping a little bit more. I backed off that. Now my authentic self, through experience, I learned that this isn't going to work. Be yourself, be humble towards it, be looking out for people, and connect. You better be connected. I want to see that network go through the roof. I want to see your LinkedIn profile professional, clean cut, sharp, and it's going to take you places.
Perfect. That's solid. Solid advice, man. Yeah. So do you have anything now that you want to say, anything you want to plug, now's your chance, you know?
Sure. The biggest thing, if anybody ever wants to reach out to me, if you're looking for any type of advice, I'm not going to sell you anything. Honestly, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on LinkedIn or Facebook. Feel free. If you're one of those people that you don't want to do it publicly, like where you want to comment, or if there's something you're struggling with in your life that you have a barrier that you're trying to overcome, or if you don't know, if your parents are telling you one thing, come talk to me. I'm pretty transparent in that. I'm not going to chirp your parents. I'm not going to say, oh, this is what it is. At the end of the day, it's your life. You live it, right? You're the one that has to walk through those eyes. Absolutely. I might have some perspective for you, and I could probably help you get through some of those moments. I've helped people with depression, with other things, and things like I've even helped people start companies. Like that's the biggest thing, right? If that's what you want to see, there's ways to do it. And remember, at the end of the day, the winners in society, the people that are doing well, are always going to be there to help you because they're winners. They're out there to help. They're not just, it's all about me. It's like, no, they're out. So reach out. Don't be scared to reach out. What's the worst thing that can happen?
Nice. I like that.
For sure.
Sweet, man. Awesome. Yeah. So that's kind of what piece that together, and that'll be on the show. I put up on Instagram that it'll be at 6 tonight, which I try to be a man of my words best I can. So that's it's going to be at 6. On YouTube, Spotify, wherever really you get your podcasts. Yeah, man. No, I cannot thank you enough for your time right now.
Thank you as well, Glenn. Like, I appreciate it, and keep up the good work and things like this.
Thank you.
Go places. Just be out there, man. Don't be scared. You know, you're a fighter. You come from that background. The martial arts gives you the sixth sense in the world. Right. Just be yourself. Don't be scared to go out there and do your thing. You know what I mean? So that's nothing but respect. But thank you for having me. If you ever need any help, anything, give me a call. You know, we're humans. That's the way.
Definitely, man. No, I especially even more appreciate that.